Welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to learn and speak Kana language. In today's episode, we are going to start from episode 1, which is greeting in Ogoni language. Greetings in Ogoni language. If this is our first time on my channel, please do well to like, share, and subscribe. This is my own little way of promoting our culture, which is Ogoni culture. The reason for this video is that I find out that it is very difficult for some of our Ogoni children which are in the city to speak our dialect, which is Ogoni. So I'm using this medium to teach them, those that are far away from home, so that they can as well learn and understand and speak the Ogoni language, the Kana language, fluently. Thank you. Let's dive into the business of today. Greeting in Ogoni language is called in Kana language. It's called Kanamue. Greeting is called Kanamue. Kanamue. Kanamue is greeting. So now, if you want to greet good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning in Kana. In Kana should be Deyira. This is Deyira. 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 The answer should be Leyira de. Leyira. Leyira de. Or Yira de. Yira de. So what this means is this. If you are telling someone good morning in English as an Ogoni person, what you need to tell the person is Deyira. Like this Christmas season now, if you are traveling home, you need to tell the person, instead of good morning, Deyira. Then the response should be Leyira de, right? The response of Deyira should be Leyira de. For instance, you can tell your daddy Deyira, mommy Deyira, uncle Deyira. The response should be Leyira de. The response should be Leyira de. So now let's come up to this one. How are you? How are you in Ogoni language? How are you? Success are disturbing me. Success, you are disturbing me. Stop that. Success, stop that. So are you awake? So if someone should ask you this English, are you awake? So in Ogoni is called Owe Arada. So in Ogoni is are you awake simply means Owe Arada. Owe Arada. This is the spelling of Owe Arada. Owe Arada. Owe Arada. So if someone should ask you, are you awake? Owe Arada. So the response should be Ne Arada. Right? The response of Owe Arada, because this is a question. They are asking you, are you awake? So the response should be I am awake. So in Ogoni, I am awake means ne arada. So it should be like this: ne ara, ne ara, arada, ne arada. So this on this. How are you? So let's go back. We are progressing. How are you? How are you? How are you? If someone should ask you how are you in Ogoni language, it goes like this. Ododoa is the same thing as how are you. Ododoa is the same thing as how are you. So this is the spelling of Ododoa. 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 Or you can say lo ania. Lo ania. Lo ania. So the response of this now should be ododoa or lo ania. Ododoa or lo ania. The response should be mlele, mlele, mlele or alele, alele. Yeah? So for instance, if this mlele means I am fine. I am fine. This alele also means I am fine. So if you are not fine, if they ask you how are you, which is ododoa in Ogoni language, if they ask you ododoa and you are not fine, you can simply say lele, which means instead of one of this m, it will be double m. Lele, lele. So if you are not fine, if you are not fine, if you are not fine, instead of if they ask you ododoa and you are not fine, the response should be lele, lele. So if you are fine, you can say mlele, which is the same thing as I am fine. Mlele, alele, I am fine. I am fine. So in this place now, if you are not fine, you will say lele, which means I am not, which means I am not fine. Which means I am not fine. Lele means I am not fine. Are you getting it? So this is ododoa. How are you? This is lo ania, the same thing as how are you? So this is mlele, the response to ododoa. Mlele, which means I am fine. Lo ania, the response, the same thing. Alele, which means you are fine. Then come down to this place now. If someone should ask you ododoa, if you are not fine, because ododoa means how are you? If you are not fine, you tell the person lele. Know the difference between mlele and mlele. Mlele and lele is not the same thing. Mlele means I am fine, while mlele means I am not fine. Alele means I am fine. Are you getting it? So that is it on it. So if you have any question on this, drop it at the comment section. Thank you. Let's go ahead. So Still on the greetings, I'm going to teach you good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. In Ogoni, in Kana. In Kana language. In Kana language. So, good afternoon means Kanamue. Son pied. So, good afternoon in Kana language, in Ogoni language, means Kanamue son pied. So, if someone should greet you Kanamue son pied, or if you greet someone Kanamue son pied, the response of the person to you should be Kanamue. Greetings. Should be Kanamue. Kanamue. Because this Kanamue means greetings. So if I should greet you Kanamue son pied, or if you greet me Kanamue son pied, my response to you should be Kanamue. So let's go back to, because we have Kanamue lole, Kanamue son pied, and Kanamue lo mme, which is the same thing as good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So in this case now, this is Kanamue son pied, which is good afternoon. Kanamue lole is just the same thing as deira, which I've earlier said here. Kanamue lole is deira. So this is Kanamue son pied, good afternoon. So the response to Kanamue son pied should be Kanamue. The response to Kanamue son pied should be Kanamue. All right. So let's go back to this part. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye in Ogoni is dowo, dowo, dowo. Then the response of the person you are telling dowo should be ale, ale. So for instance now, the response of the person should be ale. So here now, goodbye, you are telling person goodbye. For instance, your daddy, your mommy, your uncle, your siblings are traveling, and you want to tell them goodbye, you are wishing them well to go and come back. What you will say is, uncle, dowo. What you say, daddy, dowo, or papa, dowo. Then the response of your uncle or your daddy or your auntie, anybody you are telling that, should be ale. That should be the response of the person, ale. So the response of dowo should be ale, and the meaning of dowo is goodbye. I don't know if you are getting it. The response to dowo is ale. The meaning of dowo is goodbye. Goodbye is English language. Dowo is Ogoni language. Ale, which is the response to dowo, is the Ogoni language, Kana language to be specific. So that is it. Watch the ball carefully. If you have any question on this, if you don't understand, drop it at the comment section for better explanation, so I can shoot another video on this. And if you have any other topic in mind which you want me to teach, you can also as well drop it in the comment section. Thank you very much. As we proceed to other ones. So we have talked about goodbye, we have talked about Kanamue son pied, good afternoon. We have talked about so now we are going to talk about good evening. Good evening. Good evening. This is good evening English. So good evening is English, while in Ogoni language, Kana language, success, stop that. Why good evening is English. Then let's translate this thing to Ogoni language. It's called Kanamue. Kana namue. Kana mue. Lo lo mne. Lo mne. It's called Kanamue Lo Mne. Good evening is called Kanamue Lo Mne. So for instance, if your daddy goes to work in the morning, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, and he returns back home in the evening around 5, 6, 7, and 8, you can tell your daddy, if you don't want to use English as an Ogoni person, you can tell your daddy, Daddy, Oi ala, Kanamue Lo Mne. Because Oi ara now means daddy welcome. Then you can add na Kanamue Lo Mne. I don't know if you are getting this. Let me still explain. Kanamue means greeting. This is Lo Mne, which is evening. So na Kanamue, this is Lo Mne, which is evening. Kanamue means greeting, good evening, daddy, good evening, mommy, good evening, uncle, or niece, any of the above. So now, for you to translate this into Ogoni language, what you need to do, or what you need to say is, Kanamue Lo Mne. Kanamue Lo Mne, daddy, Oi ara. Kanamue Lo Mne, mommy, Oi ara. Kanamue Lo Mne, or uncle, Oi ara. Kanamue Lo Mne. So that is this. If you have any question on this, if you don't understand it, you can as well drop it in the comment section. I will explain better in the next episode of this video. Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue. Good night. Good night. De aira. De aira. De aira. That is good night. Good night. That is good night. De aira. De aira is Ogoni language, while good night is English language. So before going to bed at night, it is advisable you should tell your dad or tell your mom, De aira, as an Ogoni person. De aira. So you can then the reply of De aira from whosoever you are telling De aira should be Aira. Should be Aira. This is the spelling of Aira. Aira. So if you tell someone De aira, the response of the person should be Aira. The response of the person should be Aira. Aira. So it's also advisable that before going to bed at night, you should pray. Pray before going to bed. So after praying, you tell your daddy or tell your mommy, tell anyone around you, they are here. All right. So this is where I'm going to draw to conclusion today. This is the end of today's video. Thank you very much for your time. If this is our first time on my channel, please do well to like, share, and subscribe. It is my own little way of showcasing our culture, my heritage to the world at large. My name is Peter Munganani, our host today. See you in next episode. Thank you very much.